Hey everybody, welcome back. I thought we'll try to create a game using OpenAI's Playground using TextDaVinci 003. My idea was that we'll create a game with two characters which will have health and power, and there will be 10 levels or events that these characters will face. And we'll try to apply something called user strategy, so we can actually try to for each event we can try to decide what the characters will do, and then GPT-3 will update their health and power values, and the idea is that we'll try to survive all 10 increasingly difficult events. And call them and call it levels. And then so we'll try to do this, and then if it succeeds, and I tried this before, it should work, then either in this video or probably in another one, we'll connect to OpenAI's API and try to make this a real game eventually. Maybe I'll make this a series. I hope you'll enjoy it. So I have come up with I had experimented a little bit to see how I can get the kind of story, because what we want GPT-3 to do is to be a dungeon master, so it needs to direct the story, in this case with two characters. What I found out is that when I was trying it, maybe I can show you, find it here. I'm not sure one would be a little bit earlier. So what was happening is that it was always, the characters were always succeeding, regardless of the situation. Let me go back. So whatever was happening, yeah, I couldn't find it. That's fine. Whatever was happening, the characters was always succeeding. So we don't want to restart. Sorry. So characters were always succeeding, and we don't want them to succeed, right? So that's why I said you're impartial to what happens to them, because the characters should fail sometimes and take damage and stuff like that. Meaning you don't favor them. This means when you're creating the story, you have to explain the events in detail, why or why not the characters succeeded or failed, make the stories fun and elaborate. You create random events and their results. This is just reinforced. Give fantasy names to the characters. Characters come with dictionary of attributes. It's going to be a Python dictionary. This is future looking. I guess we could just, we don't have to do it right away, but that's fine. Health and power. So we're going to start simply. Health, so it explains power is how effective they are in battle. If health reaches 0, character dies. If a character dies, only the other character continues. There are 10 increasingly difficult events that you will be creating, and the characters will try to survive till the end. Let's just copy this real quick, paste it here. Let's just run it, see what happens. It should, okay, Arthur and Gwendolyn. Let's just stop right here. This is good. We just want these to be a Python dictionary. Let's just quickly fix that. It should do it. Okay, it just assigns them random health and power. So far, I mean, that's fine. We'll take that. So event 1, Arthur and Gwen finds themselves in a dark, dank forest. They spot a clearing in the distance, and upon further investigation find themselves face to face with an enormous snarling wolf. Arthur and Gwen must battle the wolf using their strength and agility. And then goes on to explain Arthur and Gwen decide to work together, right? So here I thought, wouldn't it be fun if we put in right here something like user strategy, thinking that we enter the strategy, we will tell them what to do. So then, let's say they split, and they split in an effort to flank wolf on both sides. They rush in quickly. Let's see what happens. Result. Okay. And also, if you notice stop sequence, I'll put here user strategy as a stop sequence. So this way, each time when it comes to user strategy, it'll stop. That's what the stop sequence is. You can read it right here. And I will be able to enter what we want to happen. So then, in this case, it says they managed to land several blows on the wolf, and Gwen managed to land finishing blow and powerful strike. The wolf is defeated, and the two heroes continue on the journey. Okay, but as we can see, Arthur lost some health, Gwen lost some health, and Arthur actually lost some power as well. So far, so good. Let's see what the next event is. So the next event is, as Arthur and Gwen continue their journey, they stumble upon a small village. As they get closer, they hear loud shouts and clanging of swords. Upon further inspection, they find the village being overrun by bandits. So, for example, here we see strategy. So when we're turning this into a game, we'll give the user an option to type in what they want to do in this particular situation, or we can give them an option so that GPT will take care of the strategy. So in this case, I'm not typing it. So it says, so this is GPT generated strategy. Arthur and Gwen rush in to help the villagers coordinate their attacks to better take out the bandits. Result: with their combined strength, Arthur and Gwen are able to defeat the bandits and save the village. The villagers are grateful and offer the two heroes a place to rest for the night. Okay, so they seem they've lost some health and power, 5 each. I wonder if in the next event it'll show, well, let's see if it'll show them recuperate because they're resting, right? Maybe they should recuperate in their health. We didn't specify anything regarding resting or anything, but let's just continue. Let's just see where this goes. Arthur and Gwen wake up the next morning, find the village in flames. A group of fire-breathing dragons have descended upon the village, setting it ablaze. So user strategy here will decide. They quickly well, let's say this. Which one is more powerful? So Arthur quickly puts out the fires, and Gwen fights the dragons. All right, let's see. Fight off the dragons. They succeed in protecting the village, and the villagers thank them for their heroic efforts. They still lost 5. But it's a bit repetitive. See what happens with event 4. Arthur and Gwen find themselves walking through a dark cave. As they get deeper, they come across a giant spider blocking their path. We'll let GPT write the strategy. Arthur and Gwen decide to attack the spider. Using their ability and strength to dodge its webs and strike it back, they manage to defeat the spider. Okay. See what's happening? It's whatever happens, only reducing 5. Okay, so to remedy that, because last time I tried this before recording the video, it was actually defining within the story what happened to the health and the power. So then let's go back to event number 2. So let's delete these. The way to event 2. Able to defeat the bandits and save the village. But let's say, but Arthur takes 10-point damage to his health, and we'll just let GPT to complete there, and Gwen takes 5-point damage to her power. So Arthur from 75 to 65, and power remains the same. Gwen takes 5-point damage to her power, 80. Okay, and her health remains the same. So hopefully this will prime GPT to explain the damage situation while it's giving us the result. Arthur and Gwen find themselves in a large open field. Suddenly, they hear loud booming noises in the distance and see a giant fire-breathing dragon flying towards them. User strategy. Let's say they try to run away from the dragon. See what happens. Okay, the dragon is too fast and they are unable to outrun it. Gwen uses her magic to distract the dragon while Arthur tries to land a blow. Gwen manages to hold the dragon off long enough for Arthur to land a powerful strike and defeat the dragon. But both Arthur and Gwen take 10-point damage to their health. 65, 65, 55, 55. Power remains the same. Okay, good. Continue, next event. Event 4. Arthur and Gwen find themselves in a vast desert and they continue their journey. They come across a large temple. As they approach, they hear strange chanting from within. We'll let GPT decide the user strategy. They decide to investigate and enter the temple cautiously. Inside, they find a group of cultists performing a dark ritual. Arthur and Gwen rush in and defeat the cultists. However, Gwen takes 5-point damage to her health. Arthur takes 10-point damage to his power. Gwen takes 5 point, 5 to 50. Arthur takes 10, 60. Okay. The cool thing is that GPT-3 is able to keep track of precisely their health and power. So this is good. This is really the crux because we can return it through the API and then we can actually make an interface with it. We can maybe add more abilities, maybe even inventory, right? And his power, okay. Let's see. Let's continue. Let's see if we can go all the way to the end and make them both survive. Arthur, because it's getting there, like so they're getting low on health and we're only halfway through the game. Arthur and Gwen find themselves in a deep murky swamp. As they continue to explore, they come across a giant 3-headed hydra. User strategy. They try to avoid fighting with hydra and try to bypass it. We don't want to fight. They manage to sneak past Hydra, but not before it notices them. Hydra gives chase, but they are able to outrun it. However, Arthur takes 10-point damage to his health, and Gwen takes 5-point damage to her power. Okay, well. What would have happened if you fought it? They fight the Hydra. It's 10 and 5. Okay, no, not here. 10, 5. Let's just change that. Let's say 12 and 7. So we'll have to think about some way that so it doesn't get so repetitive, right? But this is an experiment. Let's see. Let's continue. Event 6. Okay, Arthur and Gwen find themselves in a dark cave with only a single torch to light their way. Suddenly they hear a loud growl and they see 2 giant eyes in the darkness. We'll just let GPT decide the user strategy. Arthur and Gwen stand back to back and prepare to fight the creature. With their combined strength, they manage to defeat the creature, but not without taking some damage. Arthur takes 5 points down, Gwen 8 point damage to her power. Okay. By the way, that Gwen takes 12-point health. 12 points damage to her health. Didn't really state it like that. It just took away 10. And it didn't take away 7. from Arthur's power. Go A5. That's interesting. Well, maybe we will have to try an alternate method. But let's just go ahead. I hope maybe you'll get some interesting ideas out of this. So they fight, manage to defeat the creature, but not without taking some damage. Arthur takes 5-point damage to his health. Okay, 55 to 50. That's good. And Gwen takes 8-point damage to her power. This time it did it correctly. From 75 to 67. Well, maybe from this point on, it'll correct itself. Say Event 7. Arthur and Gwen find themselves in a dark, damp dungeon. As they explore, they come across a large door with heavy lock. We'll let GPT do the use strategy. Arthur uses his strength to try and break the lock, while Gwen uses her magic to try and unlock it. Okay. Result. After several attempts, Gwen manages to unlock the door. In the process, Arthur takes 5-point damage to his health, and Gwen takes 10-point damage to her. Let's see. Arthur 5 through, and 10 to power. Good. And then still doing the 10 and 5, but let's just finish this real quick. Arthur and Gwen find themselves in a large chamber filled with ancient magical artifacts. Suddenly they hear a loud rumble, and the room starts to shake. Let's do the... I'm just going to... Large chamber, ancient magical... Suddenly they hear a loud rumble, the room starts to shake. They try to run and avoid any harm to themselves. Oh, I can't type today. Themselves. Okay, let's just do that. They managed to make it to safety, but not before it takes 10 point and then 5. Oh. Keeps doing the 10 and 5. Well, are they going to survive? Probably. You know what? Let's quickly do this. 10 increase in the difficult levels. Health and power. Let's delete these. Let's come all the way to characters. Right over here. And let's say characters will receive varying degrees of damage depending on circumstance. Sometimes they will be able to recuperate. Is this right? Recuperate when resting or using potions and such items. Let's just do that, and we'll, you know what, we'll remove the user strategy. We'll just let it, GPT just write it out, see where we find it. Because I don't want this video to be too long, but we'll continue in the next one. I'll think of how to figure this out, and we'll go over it again. Hopefully, maybe make this into a series. Hopefully, there'll be something good in the end. Okay, Arthur and Morgan. So the event. What we want to do is, okay, so this is the event. Arthur and Morgan find themselves in a small cavern. Here we're going to say user strategy and submit. Let's do it. This is done. So it'll know now to use user strategy, hopefully. Arthur and Morgan decide to use the element of surprise and launch an attack on the goblins. Arthur charges forward. With Morgan close behind, Arthur takes down the first few goblins with his sword, while Morgan takes down the rest with her bow and arrow. They manage to now react. Result. This also gives the result. Arthur charges forward, close behind, takes down. We don't need this. It's also give. So this should be in the result. We'll let it write the result again. Okay. Let's do it again. Okay. Right on. Arthur and Morgan managed to kill several of the goblins while the rest scattered in panic. Unfortunately, the goblins managed to inflict some damage on the duo, reducing their health by 20 points each. This is pretty harsh. So I'm going to increase to 800. And let's see what it does. It's going to do event 2. All right. Arthur and Morgan find themselves in a large chamber filled with strange creatures they've never seen. User strategy. Arthur and Morgan decide to use the environment to their advantage. Arthur and Morgan use their weapons to knock down boulders from blocking off certain pathway. Okay. Result is Arthur and Morgan manages to use the environment to their advantage and are successful. Creatures still manage to inflict some damage to the duo, reducing their health by 15 points. Will increase the frequency penalty and presence penalty. Maybe that's why it's like, see, it's now just doing duo and applying damage to both of them. That's fine. Continuing, event number 3. Arthur and Morgan find themselves in a dark and ancient temple. The temple is filled with traps and puzzles that must be solved in order to progress. Arthur and Morgan must use their wits and skills. Okay. Arthur's strategies. Arthur and Morgan decide to take their time and carefully analyze each trap or puzzle before attempting to disarm or solve it. Fine. Result is Arthur and Morgan manage to successfully navigate the traps and puzzles without harm. However, the strain of the puzzles takes a toll, reducing their power to 10 points each. Fine. Well, they're getting event 4. Their healths are pretty low. Arthur and Morgan find themselves in a strange and dangerous forest. The forest is filled with all sorts of creatures, some friendly, some hostile. Arthur and Morgan must use their wits and skills, try to make it out alive. User strategy is Arthur and Morgan decide to use stealth and cunning to avoid any unnecessary conflict. That's good. They carefully sneak past the hostile creatures, avoiding detection as much as possible. Arthur and Morgan manage to successfully navigate the forest without harm. However, the strain of being so alert takes its toll, reducing. Oh, they're going to make it? They're not going to make it. Event number 5. Arthur and Morgan find themselves in a large and mysterious castle. The castle is filled with I guess this is fine, but these stories are just coming out of nowhere, right? It's one after the other. The castle is filled with all sorts of creatures, some friendly and some hostile. Arthur and Morgan must use their wits and skills to try to make it out of it. Strategies. Arthur and Morgan decide to use their weapons and magical abilities to fight their way through the castle. They manage to successfully defeat the hostile creatures, but not without taking some damage themselves. Results. Arthur and Morgan manage to successfully navigate, but not without taking some damage. They each lose 15 points of oh my god. Arthur's then dead. So we'll say Arthur. Unfortunately, Arthur didn't make it. So what will it do? Say Arthur is dead. We'll say Arthur is out of the game. Something good. Think of something there. Morgan finds himself alone. All right. No more Arthur. Morgan finds himself alone in a dungeon filled with all sorts of trouble. Okay. Wits and skill. This is kind of similar. Anyway, Morgan decides to take his time, carefully analyze each trap or puzzle. I mean, look, Morgan's being careful. Morgan managed to successfully navigate traps and puzzles without harm. However, the strain of puzzles takes a toll, reducing his power by. Event number 7. Morgan finds himself in a large underground chamber filled with strange creatures he's never seen before. Creatures seem to be hostile and are armed with strange weapons. Oh, stops because look, Morgan's health dropped to 15 points. I guess. So it doesn't know. So we shouldn't have maybe said it right here because it so it needs to first put out the health and then say maybe Arthur didn't make it, because it is when GPT typed this, it yet doesn't know that Arthur was going to have 0 health. So in this case, since Morgan is below 0 health, 0 health, what will it do? Morgan's out of the game, game over. All right, something like this. Good. See, that's good because it didn't continue to event number 8. What happened? Try it again. He's out of the game. What if you try to continue? Nothing. All right, Arthur and Morgan have both been eliminated from the game. Congratulations for making it so far. Yeah, true. I guess they made it all the way to event 7. So this is what I was thinking, right? I guess it'll need some work. What I'm thinking is maybe there'll be 2 characters. They'll have health and power to begin with. Maybe eventually, like I said, inventory. Maybe other attributes, like magic. Maybe so they'll run into events, and then whoever is playing the game can enter a strategy with just natural language. They can just type in, and then GPT will decide, or they can let GPT decide what the user strategy will be. Then GPT will give us a result plus an update on their stats, and then move on to the next event, so on and so forth. Until either both or one of them makes it to event number 10, or they don't. In that case, it will be game over. And then if any of them or both of them make it to 10 and finish it, then great, congratulations. So this is just an idea. So this was just using the playground to have to get something going. In the next video, we'll maybe iron some of these things out. Also, maybe use the API Python. Hope you enjoyed it. Take care. Please like and subscribe if you're enjoying the content. Feel free to leave comments with your suggestions and your thoughts. Take care. And it's almost New Year. I'm recording this video on the 30th of December 2022. Happy New Year to everyone. And after the New Year, then have a great New Year anyway. Have a great year. Take care. See you soon.